Faen, mennesker har ikke kommet på det nivået. Det er at valg av proteinpulver betyr noe. Ikke si meg det, for ingen er det. Det er langt igjen. 100 år til. Om 100 år så løfter du 600 kilo i markløft, og vi har for mye å gå på.
Welcome back to a new video, and in this one we're going to look at the deadlift. 600 kg deadlift. Is it or will it ever be possible? We will start off with looking at the evolution of the world record deadlift starting from 1996 until today, 2024. If we go all the way back to 1996, we see Gerrit Badenhorst lifting a 410 kg deadlift, this time with a Flintstone stiff barbell. That means the plates is like Flintstone's shape. It was built up to be correct deadlift standard height, so I believe it counts. 410 kilos, 1996. Then it went another 9 years for someone matching this, and it was Alexander Pekanov. He did this in a competition competing against guys like Mariusz Pudzianowski, which pulled 400 kilos in this comp. So 410 kilos still 2005, 9 years after Gerrit Badenhorst. Then another 3 years later in Norway at the Viking Power Challenge, we saw Kevin Nee lifting 410 kilos. And at the time it was presented, it was a new world record, which clearly it wasn't. But at this time it had stayed at 410 kilos for 15 years. Arild himself, which you saw in the introduction of this video, he pulled 400 kilos at the same competition as Kevin Nee and just at 22 years of age. Then 3 years later, 2011, we finally saw the deadlift increasing, and by 20 kilos in one day. Lauren Chalet, March 2011, pulling 430 kilos, and in the same competition, Brian Shaw matching it with 430 kilos again. The origin for this video, as you saw in the introduction, 600 kg deadlift. The clip you saw is from 2011, so the same year, Lauren Chalet and Brian Shaw deadlifting 430 kilos. This means when Arild said those words, the deadlift world record was 430 kilos. And he said within 100 years, the deadlift would raise 170 kilo, that is. The same year, actually, just a couple of weeks later, we saw Zydrunas Savickas increasing the world record another 12 kilos, this time pulling 432 kilos at the world's strongest man. Another 2 years went by and we saw a new world record again at the World's Strongest Man final, increased by just 500 grams by Brian Shaw, pulling 442.5 kilos. Then we really started to see the deadlift increasing year by year. 2014 we saw Bendik Magnusson pulling 445 kilos. Later the same year in August we saw Bendik Magnusson at the Giants Live World Deadlift Championship, pulling 461 kilos, increasing his own world record by 16 kilos in just 4 or 5 months. The year after, we saw Eddie Hall increasing the world record and be the deadlift world record holder for the first time. 2015, this time in the States in front of Arnold Schwarzenegger himself, pulling 462 kilos. Just months later, we saw Eddie Hall increasing the world record again, this time at the Giants Live, pulling 463 kilos, and it was at this time the rumor started that Eddie would pull 500 kilos if people was up paying for it. 463 kilos by Eddie Hall in July 2015. The world record had now raised 33 kilos in the 4 years Arild did his statement. 1 year after, July 2016, Eddie Hall hold his word, pulling 500 kg deadlift, increasing the world record by 37 kilos in one night. Eddie's world record at 500 kilos stood for 4 years. Hafthor Bjornsson lifted 501 kilos in his gym, but in front of judges and the whole world watching the live stream. He was supposed to do it in Dubai, I believe, but due to the lockdown, he had to change this up and he lifted 501 kilos, increasing the world record by 1 kilo just 4 years later. To this day, 2024, the world record has not been beaten. it's still 501 kilos by Hafthor Bjornsson, which means the world record had just increased by 1 kilo the last 8 years. Well, Arild Haugen is one of the strongest men to ever live, and at such a young age. There's many reasons for this, but one of them is clearly due to the fact that he didn't spend too much time lurking around, but focusing on what really gave results from day one. Back in 2011, as shown in the introduction and which we will take a further look at now, Arild pointed out that human species has much more potential when it comes to optimizing our performance. Now, let's take a closer look at a video clip from 2011, recorded weeks prior to when he was supposed to do a comeback and competing at the World's Strongest Man for the third time at just 25 years of age.
Min styrke er gjerne å være litt selektive, finne ut hva som virkelig betyr noe og ikke. De fleste gjør feil. De står inne på butikken hos meg, og så bruker de en halvtime å velge hvilket proteinpulver de skal ha. Når det er 5 typer whey-protein, og jeg sier det er så å si det samme, så spør jeg de, nå har du brukt en halvtime her, det er 1 måltid. Du skal ha 7 til i løpet av dagen. Betyr det at du bruker 3 timer på Rimi når du skal handle matvarer? Nei. Sett ting i perspektiv. Sånn, begynn å faen bruke det. Spiller noen rolle hvilken type kreatin du har. Hvis at du bruker 4 timer på byen, istedenfor å hvile. Du må lære å bestemme hva betyr noe. Trening, søvn, hvile, mat. De enkle, basic tingene. Valg av øvelser. Skal vi trene rygg? Skal vi trene markløft og stående roing? Eller skal vi trene noe sånn? De store valg på det som betyr noe. Det er faen ikke vitaminpiller du tar, eller ikke proteinpulver du bruker. Fuck det, det betyr ingenting. Altså, verdens sterkeste mann, Arild Pudzianowski. Jeg tror ikke jeg kan spise en gang, eller så tror jeg så ikke. Vet du ikke, de gir faen hva de spiser. De spiser nok. For det er treningen og hvilen og maten i det store hele. Det er de store, viktige tingene. Det er ikke detaljene der. Faen, mennesker har ikke kommet på det nivået. Det er at valg av proteinpulver betyr noe. Ikke si meg det, for ingen er der. Det er langt igjen. 100 år til. Om 100 år så løfter du 600 kg i markløft, og vi har for mye å gå på. Og i hvert fall til alle de 18-åringene der hjemme, som tror at de små detaljene der har noe å bety. Nei, feil. Lær deg. Hvis du skal begynne å trene i dag, lær deg teknikk. Lær deg grunntrening. Ikke tren for tungt, tren heller litt mye. Mengde. Snakk med kunnskapsrike folk som har erfaring og peiling. Og snakk ikke om en personlig trener på Alexia eller Sats, for de har ikke tilstrekkelig kunnskap.
Well, as mentioned, just a couple of weeks later, the world record was extended by 12 kilos by Zydrunas Viscaus. Now, 13 years has passed since this statement, and the world record has increased by 430 kilos all the way up to 501, which means 71 kilos in total. Of course, it will be harder to increase and progress as the weight gets heavier, but I would say it's likely within 2 years' time that the world record would be like 510 kilos, either by Hafthor Bjornsson or Mitchell Hooper. If so, then it will be 85 years still remaining. Could Arild be right? Is it possible to go from then 510 kilo to 600 kilo for us mortal human beings? If not 85 years, ever. Will it be possible? I mean, from his quote, 13 years has gone and the world record had already increased by 71 kilos out of 170 kilos. So my personal opinion would be, I do believe that when Arild first said it, everyone would have thought that this was bullshit. Even though I still feel like 600 kilos is a lot, it's still another 87 years of progress, of evolution, training, supplementation, deadlift suits, like so many things, so many years. I do think a lot can happen in this time, and Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Arild ended up being right. I'm curious though, what do you guys make of this? Is 600 kilos ever possible? Or what do you think that the cap for a human being would be? Was Arild Haugen right back in 2011 when the world record was 430 kilos that the human race have so much more potential?
Det er de store, viktige tingene. Det er ikke detaljene der. Faen, mennesker har ikke kommet på det nivået. Der at valg av proteinpulver betyr noe. Ikke si meg det, for ingen er der. Det er langt igjen. 100 år til. Om 100 år så løfter du 600 kilo i markløft, og vi har for mye å gå på. Og iallfall til alle de 18.
Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe if you like the video and give me a comment. See you.